the president, it really goes out the window from the prosecutor's perspective. From the defense perspective, it's a little different. The defense obviously is looking at this as being targeted. And it hasn't come across in the closing arguments. We'll have to, in the opening arguments, rather, we'll have to see what happens in the closing. But in the opening arguments, the defense were very clear in saying there's no intent here to defraud and to lie. There was no intent when these forms were filled out. So we'll have to see where it goes. It is a simple case at the end of the day, and we'll have to see what the jury decides as to whether or not there was intent to actually lie on those forms when the gun was purchased.
Got it. All right, Mercedes, thank you very much. Mercedes Conlon following all these developments. The trial resumes tomorrow again. They think they can wrap this up within 2 weeks. We shall see. Meanwhile, some fireworks on Capitol Hill today. What is it? Lately, it was Tony Fauci yesterday, Merrick Garland, the Attorney General today. At issue, the weaponization of our legal forces. After this.
They're about to nominate a convicted felon, and they don't know how to cope with that.
Many Americans believe there's now a double standard in our justice system. They believe that because there is.
The smooth-riding, longest-lasting Pilot G2 has long been the hero of gelling pens. And what hero doesn't have a dark side? Introducing the G2 Edge, the same #1 selling gelling pen in America, now with an innovative laser etch design, cushion comfort grip, and durable tungsten carbide tip. Whatever your mission, give yourself the edge.
You know, when I take the bike out like this, all my stresses just melt away.
I hear that. This bad boy can fix anything.
Yep, tough day at work. Nice cruiser sorts you right out.
When I'm riding, I'm not even thinking about my painful cavity.
Oh, you shouldn't ignore that.
And every time I get stressed about having to pay my bills, I just hop on the bike, man.
Oh, come on, man. You gotta pay your bills.
You don't have to worry about anything when you're protected by America's #1 motorcycle insurer.
Well, you definitely do. Those things aren't related, so...
Ah, yee! Oh, that is a vibrating pain.
My name is Faye, and I'm 81 years old, and I love life. I started taking Balance of Nature 6 years ago. I think we've all had the experience of looking at supplements and not even understanding the ingredients. And Balance of Nature, you understand every ingredient. I would not go a day without my Balance of Nature.
Get 35% off plus a free fiber and spice supplement by using discount code Fox News.
At Biz2 Credit, we know running a business takes everything you have, and only a certain kind of leader has what it takes. Every new challenge is yours to solve, and there's no such thing as off the clock. You carry the weight of the problems, but your resolve never wavers. No one else can do what you do. We know your drive. We know your determination. You've come far enough to know success is for those who take it. Biz2 Credit. Funding what's next.
Attention former Marines and family members stationed to Camp Lejeune. If you lived or worked at Camp Lejeune, North Carolina, for at least 30 days from August 1953 to December 1987 and have been diagnosed with cancer, neurobehavioral effects, had a child born with birth defects or been diagnosed with fertility issues or more, significant compensation may be available. Call Legal Injury Advocates now to discuss your case.
Call 1-800-571-7272. That's 1-800-571-7272. Call now.
It's time. Yes, the time has come for a fresh approach to dog food. Every day, more dog people are deciding it's time to quit the kibble and feed their dogs fresh food from the farmer's dog. Made by vets and delivered right to your door, precisely portioned for your dog's needs. It's an idea whose time has come.
Republican Senator John Cornyn and Democratic Congresswoman Pramila Jayapal both don't like this executive action plan on the part of the president to deal with the mess at the border. We'll talk to Alejandro Mayorkas about that after this.
With the price of just about everything inflating these days, you may wonder why Mint is deflating the price of Mint Unlimited from $30 a month to just $15 a month. Well, it's easy. We know a great price on a great product is better than one of those things, right? Does Big Wireless really believe that these things actually work? So this one will never see the light of day. All right.
These bills are crazy.
She has no idea she's sitting on a gold mine.
Well, she doesn't know that if she owns a life insurance policy of $100,000 or more, she can sell all or part of it to Coventry for cash, even a term policy.
Even a term policy?
Even a term policy!
Find out if you're sitting on a gold mine. Call Coventry Direct today at 800-496-9200 or visit coventrydirect.com.
What happened to Peter Navarro and Steve Bannon when they decided to defy a subpoena of the Congress?
We received 4 referrals, criminal referrals.
What will happen to you if your decision is baseless?
May I continue to answer?
No, I know what happened. You know what happened too. Mr. Navarro's in prison.
The chairman is 754 days into his own subpoena defiance.
Did you ever have a family member profit off of the notoriety of any case that you settled?
Say again, you're asking
yes or no?
You're asking me to comment on a case currently.
Well, it seems you're connecting the dots, Mr. Attorney General.
They're about to nominate a convicted felon, and they don't know how to cope with that.
Many Americans believe there's now a double standard in our justice system. They believe that because there is.
All right, it is the summer after all, and tensions running high as the Attorney General of the United States often seemed like a piñata on Capitol Hill. Chad Pergram with more on that. Chad.
Neil, good afternoon. Merrick Garland is fighting allegations that his department is biased and even in cahoots with Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg for his prosecution of former President Trump. Republicans are convinced there are two systems of justice.
The public has seen through the claims you've made today about fair and impartial pursuit of justice. They see that Lady Justice's blindfold has slipped off, and they need look no further than the treatment by your department of former President Trump and current defendant Hunter Biden.
But Democrats challenge that. They note the DOJ also launched criminal probes of Democratic New Jersey Senator Bob Menendez and Texas Democrat Henry Cuellar. Democrats defended the Attorney General.
It is not the fault of the Department of Justice that Donald Trump surrounded himself with criminals. Trump brought that upon himself. And I know that as we sit here today, the Department of Justice is prosecuting Hunter Biden in a federal court right now.
Garland accused Republicans of touting conspiracy theories about the prosecutions of former President Trump. But Garland warned the GOP he would not be intimidated. He contends President Biden received the same treatment as former President Trump during the raid on Mar-a-Lago. Former President Trump said Garland approved the use of lethal force.
This is dangerous. It raises the threats of violence against prosecutors and career agents. The document that's being discussed is our standard use of force protocol, which is a limitation on the use of force and was part of the package for the search of President Biden's home as well.
Now, Republicans demand Garland cough up the audio tape of the interview special counsel Robert Hur conducted with President Biden. Garland released the transcript but not the tape, and that's why Republicans want to hold him in contempt of Congress. Neil?
Chad, thank you very much. All right, well, the president wants to all but shut down the border. Let's just say it did not shut down the political controversy.
I have type 2 diabetes, but I manage it well. It's a little pill with a big story to tell. I take once daily Jardians at each day's start. As time went on, it was easy to see. I'm lowering my A1C.
Jardians works 24/7 in your body to flush out some sugar. And for adults with type 2 diabetes and known heart disease, Jardians can lower the risk of cardiovascular death too.
Serious side effects may include ketoacidosis that may be fatal, dehydration that can lead to sudden worsening of kidney function, and genital yeast or urinary tract infections. A rare life-threatening bacterial infection in the skin of the perineum could occur. Stop Jardians and call your doctor right away if you have symptoms of this infection, ketoacidosis, or an allergic reaction. You may have increased risk for lower limb loss. Call your doctor right away if you have symptoms of infection in your legs or feet. Taking Jardians with a sulfonylurea or insulin may cause low blood sugar.
Jardians is really swell, the little pill with a big story to tell.
What's up?
Who are you?
I'm your inner child. Get in. Listen, what you really need in life is some freaking total. Oh yeah, man. Horsepower keeps you going, but torque gets you going. Oh, now we're torquing.
I love car puns.
Oh, I know. Power shot.
The Dodge Hornet RT, the totally torqued out crossover.
Babe, I'm buying this umbrella.
New blender.
How about side chairs?
Cutting board?
A bar cart.
Love it. Budget?
Bed Bath & Beyond.
Start saving. Shop now. BedBathAndBeyond.com.
My hair was thinning all around my hairline.
My dermatologist recommended Nutrafol. It's 100% drug-free and clinically tested.
My hair is longer, thicker.
Nutrafol is life-changing for me.
Get growing at Nutrafol.com.
It's only a matter of time until your check engine light comes on, or worse yet, your car needs repair. That could mean a big surprise auto repair bill. Those repairs are more expensive than ever. A new engine can be over $5,000. A new transmission over $4,000. That's why it's so important you call CarShield today. CarShield is the #1 auto protection company in the country.
I like CarShield because they were reliable, they were affordable, and they were trustworthy.
Well, I think everybody should have CarShield. Once your manufacturer's warranty is expired, there's just no big bills. If we needed repairs, CarShield was there for us.
Now it's your turn to get the peace of mind that comes with having CarShield, so you can worry less about auto repairs. Call or go online right now to get CarShield for yourself. Friendly, knowledgeable, money-saving representatives are available 24 hours a day. So if your car is 20 years old or newer, just tell us the make and model of your car or truck to get an instant plan quote. In a matter of minutes, you can be covered.
I was elated that I had CarShield. I was more than happy.
There's no fun when you have a car and it's broken and you can't pay for it to get it fixed.
Here's how CarShield works. When your car needs repair, you take it to your favorite mechanic or even your dealer, and CarShield gets them paid directly. That's why CarShield is America's #1 auto protection provider.
CarShield is just the best thing to take away the fear that when something is going to go wrong with your car, because it will, and CarShield is going to be there to back you up.
My experience with CarShield is that they absolutely come through every time I need them.
If my car breaks down, I can count on CarShield to cover it for me. CarShield definitely has my back.
Now it's the time to make the smart choice and protect yourself from sky-high auto repair bills. Call now for a free and instant protection plan quote. It's only a matter of time until repairs are needed, and once your car breaks down, it's too late.
Call 1-800-908-6039 or go to carshield.com. Get covered today.
All right, the political fallout from a crackdown at the border that Republicans say is long overdue, and even some progressives are saying isn't close to what we need done. Julia Manchester following the ebbs and flows of all of this. So, Julia, they usually say if you can get both sides to argue over something, maybe you're onto something. But in this case, I'm not so sure. What do you make of this?
Yeah, look, Neil, I mean, you have Republicans, predictably really pouncing on President Biden over this, saying it's too little, too late. But I think Biden at one point had to do something about this. He was getting political pressure on this issue, pressure from even some moderate Democrats. So that's what you're seeing Republicans do. They want to keep the border in the headlines, and they're going to continue with this narrative that it took Biden until an election year to do something, or a few months out from an election. However, Biden and Democrats very much touting this executive action as something that, he's trying to spin it as Democrats taking action on this and Republicans not taking action on the border when it came to that bipartisan legislation that's been introduced in Congress.
Yeah, I just wonder, I mean, it is 5 months of an election. I mean, cynics will jump to that conclusion. I'll raise that with Alejandro Mayorkas himself in just a few minutes. But the one thing that comes up is that the border remains a mess. Now, Donald Trump has planned, to take pretty drastic action if he comes into president, mass deportations, complete lockdown. And Americans seem to be increasingly favoring that. And that is a tidal change since Joe Biden became president in the first place. I just wonder what you make of that and whether the president risks looking behind the 8 ball on this.
Yeah, look, it's interesting because we know that in 2016, Donald Trump was talking about the border and building the wall. In 2018, he made the border also a central theme of his campaign message when talking, campaigning for down ballot Republicans. So he's trying to do this again, but really trying to capitalize on the images that we see of people flowing over the southern border and images that would convey, chaos and dysfunction at the border. So, I think it goes to show, and a lot of this has to do with the fact, Neil, that in states not far from the border, like New York, for example, New York City, Chicago, et cetera, they are dealing with the migrant crisis now. So I think you're starting to see more Americans look over at the border and realize what it's like to be a border town, or at least get some sort of taste of that. And that's, I think, what you're seeing reflected in some Americans starting to blame this, or many Americans blaming this on the Biden administration. But we'll see. I mean, the tide could turn, and maybe this executive action plays in Biden's favor. But like I said, a lot of Republicans saying too little, too late.
When I talk about not only Republicans, but even some Democrats, and so normally we associate with more left-wing groups, the ACLU, Congresswoman Jayapal, saying it actually goes way too far, that this, ability to restrict amnesty cases and the like is such that really galls them. So you've got it from both sides.
Yeah, and I sort of see this theme developing for Biden, or a theme that's already developed, where Biden is very much trying to thread the needle towards appeasing Republicans, moderate Democrats, and progressives. You've seen this with the war in Gaza, with Israel and Hamas, and then of course you also see it a little bit with Biden trying to appeal to progressives in particular with student loan debt. I mean, he has all of these major issues, and it's impossible, or it seems like it's impossible, to make everyone happy. But with this situation on the border, I think this executive action that we're seeing today shows that the administration views this as a major political liability. But I think once again, like we've seen with the war in Gaza, you're going to see progressives maybe flex their political muscles against the president.
Julia, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention all this money that Donald Trump has been raising, $400 million, if you include just one single $100 million commitment on the part of Sheldon Adelson's widow. But the fact of the matter is the former president's been breaking it in $20 and $25 donations from a wide pool of people here, and that is post the guilty verdicts that went down last week. We don't have any numbers from Joe Biden yet, but that would be a couple of months in a row that Donald Trump has had the financial advantage.
It would be. And I think it's important, obviously, to look at that top line number, but to see how big these donations are. I mean, the smaller the individual donation is, that suggests the stronger the grassroots base is for Donald Trump. And it also depends on the number of new donors that are coming in. We've seen the Trump campaign say that they've received a number of new donors. And that would mean that the Trump campaign is essentially expanding its universe post verdict, and that would mean that they're obviously attracting new voters. I talked to a number of Republicans last week, Neil, that said that if you are an unlikely or maybe low propensity voter, you're not likely to vote for Biden, more likely to vote for Trump, but this issue could bring more of those voters to Trump.
Got it. All right. Thank you very much for that, Julia Manchester, on all of that. Meanwhile, the legality of what President Biden wants to do at the border, oftentimes with any executive action or order, or how you want to look at it, a court shoots it down. It happened to, Donald Trump. Could it happen now to Joe Biden after this?
My husband and I own a growing beverage company. We rely on e-commerce and digital tools to build our business and launch new products. Thanks to American investments in AI, we're using this technology to run our business more efficiently. Artificial intelligence is a game changer, and I'm excited that the U.S. is leading the world in its development. Our leaders should continue to protect America's competitive edge, to strengthen small businesses like ours.
We're a society in crisis. But what if we turned our discord into dialogue? What if CEOs, CHROs, and politicos were catalysts for civility? Civility is, after all, the sweetener that takes the bitterness out of toxic disagreements. At SHRM, we know people in businesses are at their best when they lead with civility. So join me in starting 1 million civil conversations to shape a better workplace and a better world.
What would you like to pay for your hotel room tonight? $185, $169, or $155? Same room, same service, just different prices. It's really up to you. Well, nobody asks you this at reception, but that's exactly what Trivago does. Trivago compares hotel prices from hundreds of booking sites. So, save yourself valuable time and money. Use Trivago, compare hotel prices, and save up to $30 a night. Hotel? Trivago.
Money printing causes inflationary pressures that will result in the devaluation of wealth. And that's exactly what Americans will continue to experience. The Fed will print as much money as it wants. Unlike the US dollar, gold has historically withstood recession and inflation. Invest in gold and silver with Noble Gold Investments. They're here to help. Go to noblegoldinvestments.com. That's noblegoldinvestments.com, the only gold company I trust.
Another day, another shameless political stunt from Joe Biden. We'll show you how he is trying to trick voters. We're not going to let him. Tonight on Hannity.
This bakery needs new equipment fast to keep up with demand. So they're going to OnDeck, the online lender that makes it easy to choose your loan and, if approved, get funds as soon as the same day. Your loan is on deck.
I used to think I couldn't host shindigs. Then I found Pretty Litter. It tracks odors and changes color to keep tabs on my cat's health. Plus, it delivers right to my door. Get 5-star freshness at prettylitter.com.
If losing weight has you frustrated, a group of doctors created a remarkable weight loss supplement called Lean, and it's very encouraging. The studied ingredients in Lean have been shown to help maintain healthy glucose levels, help burn fat by converting excess fat into energy, and reduce appetite so you eat less. If you've tried everything to lose weight, non-prescription Lean could be the answer you've been searching for.
Visit TakeLean.com and get 15% off with promo code GET15 at TakeLean.com.
If you know luxury, it's not just award-winning, it's rewarding. Saatva Mattresses supports all types of sleepers with durable steel coils and plush organic cotton. Luxury is handcrafted in American factories and brought directly to you with our free in-home white glove delivery service, which is why over 90% of customers would recommend Saatva to friends and family. Saatva, luxury mattresses made affordable.
All right, Hunter Biden has left the courthouse, we're told, in Wilmington, Delaware. This is the first day of testimony in that gun trial. Trey Gowdy, kind enough to join us, the Sunday Night in America Uber host. His show is very, very popular. It's very good. Former South Carolina Republican congressman, former federal prosecutor. He knows of what he speaks. So, Trey, great seeing you. We're told that this trial could be fairly quick for Hunter Biden, but the punishment could be fairly steep. On paper, he could be looking at 20-plus years behind bars. Unlikely, but what do you think?
Yeah, not a chance in the world he serves anything near that amount of time. Look, Neil, I have this really bad habit. I've been trying to break it, but I have this habit of being fair. And so I spent the last couple of weeks in New York saying that if that defendant's last name was not Trump, we would not be there. I'm not sure we would be in a Delaware federal court if this defendant's last name were not Biden. I used to do these kinds of cases. I did lots of them. I did convicted felons. I did fugitives from justice. I did men who had domestic violence restraining orders. There are a lot of people who cannot possess firearms. I never once did an unlawful user of controlled substances, which includes prescribed drugs, or an addict. So in this case, there are no lawful users of cocaine base. This is not Valium, it's not diazepam, it's not Lortab. The allegation is cocaine base. So you can rule out lawful users doing it in an unlawful way. It just boils down to an addict. Is he an addict? Which requires expert testimony, and they're going to call an expert that says, nah, you can't believe what somebody writes in a book. He really wasn't an addict. The prosecution is going to say he was. I struggle, Neil, that this is really the best use of federal resources. We have a lot of real crime in this country. I assume they do in Delaware, too. I just wonder if his last name were Cavuto or Gowdy or Smith, if you and I would be having this conversation.
That's very interesting. Real quick, while I have you, Trey, the legality of what the president's doing on the border here. I know it's an executive action, but courts can sort of say, all right, you've gone too far. They often do. They did with his predecessor. So where does this go?
It depends on which judge you get in front of, and I know that's a lousy answer, but it really depends on whether or not you get in front of a judge that takes a limited view of executive action or one who views it as being a little more amorphous, and then it's going to be appealed. None of this is going to happen before the election, so I think, I hate to be cynical. Actually, I don't hate to be cynical. I am cynical. I think it's a little bit of electioneering, and by the time a judge weighs in, you and I will be talking about somebody's inaugural address.
All right, we'll watch it closely. Trey, always a pleasure. Thank you very much. Trey Gowdy. All right, in the meantime, what the president wants to do at the border, the point man for it, the Homeland Security Secretary, Alejandro Mayorkas, is next.
When we say it'll be on time, they expect it to be on time.
Turn shipping to your advantage.
Keep those expectations with reliable ground shipping.
Thanks, Brandon.
With USPS Ground Advantage.
My plane has mechanical problems. I'll try to get there as soon as I can.
Breakfast looks delicious, as always. Having a chauffeur car plane side helps keep me on schedule. Hi, Jeff.
With all the plane shortages, did you have trouble finding one?
I never have any trouble. I simply pick a plane, pay, and I'm ready to badge it to my destination.
Are there any taxis around? I'm really late for my meeting.
Do we have a deal? Missed you at the meeting today. Badge it and don't miss out on the most important moments of your life.
Call for a complimentary flight.
Cologuard? Cologuard.
Cologuard.
Screen for colon cancer.
At home, like you want.
You the man.
Cologuard is for people 45 plus at average risk, not high risk. False positive and negative results may occur. Ask your provider for Cologuard.
I did it my way.
Lowe's knows when you need a new appliance today, you want it at a great price. Shop deals on Samsung Bespoke refrigerators and the new Samsung Bespoke AI laundry combo, the industry's largest capacity, fastest all-in-one washer and dryer. Shop Lowe's now for Memorial Day deals.
At Biz2 Credit, we know running a business takes everything you have. And only a certain kind of leader has what it takes. Every new challenge is yours to solve, and there's no such thing as off the clock. You carry the weight of the problems, but your resolve never wavers. No one else can do what you do. We know your drive. We know your determination. You've come far enough to know success is for those who take it. Biz2 Credit. Funding what's next.
My name is Dr. Zhang. I'm a doctor of podiatric medicine.
My name is Todd. I'm a paramedic firefighter.
My name is Dr. Peter Munda. I'm a chiropractor in New York, Long Island.
I've been taking Balance of Nature for 23 years.
I love Balance of Nature, and I'll never stop taking it.
As far as Balance of Nature goes, I'll keep taking this stuff until the day I die,
Get 35% off plus a free fiber and spice supplement by using discount code FOX News. Offer ends Friday.
This isn't just your normal bike. It folds, it unfolds, and it just goes. Need to climb that hill? No problem. And if you're looking for speed, well, you've come to the right place. 28 miles per hour, up to 65 miles of range. And equipped with hydraulic brakes, this is the Electric XP 3.0. Fully foldable, fully assembled, ships free. Simple as that. Go to electricebikes.com and come ride with us.
Believe it or not, baby, you could earn your master's.
For under 11,000.
Master's degree for under 11K in less than a year.
Earn your competency-based master's at University of Phoenix.
Ego, the #1 rated brand in cordless outdoor power, brings you the Ego Power Plus string trimmer with power load technology. Feed the line, push the button, and get back to work. Ego, exclusively at Lowe's, Ace, and Ego authorized dealers.
This year, make Father's Day special with the Fox News Shop's new Proud American Dad collection. From polos and hats to golf balls, a decanter set, and more. Show Dad the love with gifts you can't get anywhere else. Order now at foxnews.shop for holiday delivery.
basically this executive order, which would be, by my count, roughly the 95th executive order he's issued, does nothing to change the ability to hold people as opposed to catch them and release them. And it actually says the first 2,500 that come across the border get in free.
I'm disappointed that the president has, sort of gone into the same frame as Donald Trump at a very time when we need to make a distinction between Donald Trump and Joe Biden.
All right, from the right and the left, criticism that this plan the president has to freeze activity at border crossings isn't going to do the job. With us now is Alejandro Mayorkas, the Homeland Security Secretary, kind enough to join us. Secretary, what do you make of that? That's a bipartisan bashing you're getting there.
Neil, thanks for having me on the show. Bipartisan bashing is part and parcel of immigration, but where we need bipartisan unity is where we had it in the proposed legislation that senators and this administration worked so hard to achieve. That bipartisan legislation would have provided the toughest statutory, the toughest new laws to further secure our southern border in more than 3 decades. It would have allowed us to hire 1,500 more U.S. Customs and Border Protection personnel, more than 4,000 asylum officers, more than 100 immigration judges. It would have funded technology to increase our ability to interdict fentanyl.
But it didn't happen. But nevertheless, you had said, and the president said a number of times, sir, that the border already was secure. So obviously it's not.
Oh, Neil, we've been talking about strengthening the security of the border since day one. The challenge of irregular migration is very, very dynamic. Our personnel, our Border Patrol agents are doing extraordinary, heroic work every day, 24/7. We need more tools. We need our broken immigration system fixed. We need more resources, and the American people deserve it.
All right, but nevertheless, you're doing the one thing you criticized President Trump for doing when he was in office. I want to take you back to October 2020, sir, when Joe Biden was saying this about the president's move at the time, President Trump's move at the time, to deal with these asylum cases. This is from your boss.
This is the first president in the history of the United States of America that anybody seeking asylum has to do it in another country. That's never happened before in America. That's never happened before in America. You come to the United States and you make your case that I seek asylum based on the following premise: why I deserve it under American law.
And now he's doing what Donald Trump did.
Not true, Neil. And President Biden spoke accurately in the clip you just showed. President Trump shut down asylum altogether. What we are doing is cutting out the smugglers and deterring irregular migration in between our ports of entry, where it's so very dangerous and the crossings are illegal. We are allowing asylum claimants to come to the ports of entry using our CBP One app in a lawful, safe, and orderly way. We also have built other lawful pathways for individuals to seek asylum in this country. So we haven't shut down asylum. What we've done is further strengthen the border through executive action, which can be challenged and will be challenged in the courts, which is why we need Congress to act. That is the enduring solution.
All right, that might be, but the ACLU is not pleased with this asylum action. Said that the Biden administration just announced an executive order that will severely restrict people's legal right to keep asylum, putting tens of thousands of lives at risk. This action takes the same approach as the Trump administration's asylum ban. We will be challenging this order in court. Yet in your defense of it, sir, if I heard you correctly, you were saying that there are ways around that, and through the CPB, where a lot of people are sort of processed and then released, you're not really going to be that strict on this asylum thing. So the ACLU really has nothing to worry about.
Neil, I disagree with the ACLU's assertion, and I should say that when people access the CBP One app and come to the port of entry, they have been screened and vetted before they arrive at the port of entry, further advancing our security at the southern border.
All right, so the way this works is that you get over 2,500, which we're at now. If this went into effect like right now, instead of just midnight tonight, you're already dealing with that. Now, then what happens when you get below that? Then how long does that kick in? Because some people think it's going to be an on-again, off-again approach to dealing with the mess at the border. And throngs are still going to get in and working it like clockwork.
Neil, it will, in fact, be immediately in effect. And then if we experience 7 consecutive calendar days where the average number of encounters each day is below 1,500, then 14 days after that 7th day, we will reopen. And if in fact, the number of encounters thereafter is 2,500 or more on average for 7 consecutive days, we have the authority to again implement this bar, which we would do.
So the one thing I didn't understand, Secretary, there are a number of exemptions for this, including, unaccompanied children. And isn't that a green light for drug cartels to take advantage of that? And, the whole purpose of this, it sort of blows up in your face.
Oh, absolutely not.
Well,
Neil,
who's going to watch those unaccompanied children? If they are allowed in, you don't ship them back, you don't do anything like that. So where do they go?
Neil, we deal with unaccompanied children in a humanitarian way, adhering to our values. We deter irregular migration. We build lawful pathways.
But this encourages
we have
drug
programs
cartels
for
to
minors.
take advantage of those kids, does it not, sir?
Neil, we're taking it to the drug cartels with unprecedented strength through our transnational criminal investigative units.
No, this is actually a green light for those cartels. Isn't that the fear, that this was actually green lighting and say, oh, God, we can use these kids as pawns to get what we want?
Neil, let's be clear. The cartels, the smuggling organizations are unscrupulous. They exploit individuals of all different types of vulnerabilities. We are taking it to the cartels. We accepted unaccompanied children from this asylum bar because of the compelling humanitarian picture they present.
All right, let me get a better...
We're going to adhere to our values.
Okay.
We're going to adhere to our values while we take tough enforcement measures, which is what we have done.
That may be the case. Chad Wolf, of course, one of your predecessors, and others have been saying this is too little, too late. I certainly understand, sir, what you're talking about, this measure, this border, a bipartisan deal that fell apart. I know you blame President Trump for that he sort of pushed Republicans not to support that. They didn't. It is what it is. But essentially, we're back to doing something that looks like an election year ploy. The election's only 5 months away, and lo and behold, you guys do this now. It just seems weird.
Neil, first of all, those voices of criticism, I would posit, did they support the Senate's bipartisan package? I would hope so. Number one. Number two, let's keep in mind the chronology. Up until May of last year, Title 42 was in effect. Mm-hmm. After Title 42 ended in May, we drove the numbers down, and we began pressing Congress to take legislative action. The president in August requested a supplemental funding package, again requested it in October, and we began working on bipartisan Senate legislation that did in fact make it to be presented to Congress. We expected Congress to act. They did not act once. They recently failed to act twice, and we took this executive action. It's not too little, and it's not too late. We had hoped that Congress would act. They have failed to do so, and the president exercised his executive authority as he has done now.
All right, I noticed you had a variety of border city mayors there, but not the mayor of Eagle Pass, Sir Rolando Salinas, who's been a frequent critic of your administration, and you personally. Why?
Neil, I've met with Mayor Salinas. Why certain mayors showed up, others didn't, I'll leave it to them
he wasn't
to
even
express
invited.
their
It's not a matter of
views.
showing up. He wasn't invited.
I was very pleased to be joined by mayors, by members of Congress, by 2 governors in
he's a big
support
one,
of
right?
this executive
He's in harm's
action.
way. Eagle Pass is the epicenter. It just seems weird.
Well, no, it is not, Neil. It is not. It was at one point in time. It is no longer the epicenter of the number of encounters that we experience at the southern border, which is a powerful example of how evolving and dynamic the situation is at the southern border.
Well, we'll see how it goes, Secretary. Thank you very much for taking the time here. We'd love to have you back to see how it progresses. Alejandro Mayorkas, the Homeland Security Secretary. That'll do it here for today. Tomorrow, we have Robert F. Kennedy Jr. joining us, also the Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson. So we're going to continue to pick apart what's happening at the border, what's happening in Washington, and how all this sorts out in the political landscape, because something tells me it will. Here's the 5.